Well, people, it's been a while. I'm not dead. I'm still doing stuff, and I got another idea for a video finally, huh? So, what you're looking at right here, all this stuff, is stuff that I got yesterday for friggin' free. So yeah, thought you might like to see it, especially as I dig through those two boxes right there, because honestly, I don't know what's in those boxes. That's my cat right there. She thinks boxes are interesting too. So yeah, I figured primarily this video is going to be about me going through those boxes and finding out what's in there and talking about it and whatever. But first, I can kind of give you a little bit of a show of the stuff that I got otherwise beside the boxes. That is an Apple Monitor 3. See if I can light that up a bit for you. Sort of. Yeah? Ew, that's kind of nasty. That's my cat tail. My cat's tail. Not my cat tail. I don't have a cat tail. So yeah, that's a Monitor 3. The main thing that I actually was looking for is this guy had listed on Facebook Marketplace, said that he was cleaning out a house, I guess to resell it, and he listed this Apple Monochrome Monitor 2, which I used to have, and wanted to have again, and the reason I don't have it anymore is because, well, Mom made me throw it away a long time ago. But, so yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this monitor. So he had listed it for free, which was particularly appealing to me because even though I'd had one a long time ago and wanted to have one again, I hadn't actually pulled the trigger on getting one for all this time because I didn't want to pay the shipping for this, which is like probably $50 by itself. It's not a heavy monitor, it's not a big monitor, but it is a monitor, so you know it's kind of unwieldy a little bit. And yeah, she's kind of pissed off because she sees the object of her malice over there. So yeah, she's got to go prove herself because that's important. Anyway, so turns out my wife found about a month and a half ago this one listed on Facebook Marketplace by this guy cleaning out a house, and it was free, and he said that there was some more stuff with it and wondered if I'd be interested in that too, and I said sure. So I came and checked it out, coming to only expect to come away with this monitor, and came away with all this other friggin' stuff too. So yeah, Monitor 3, Monochrome Monitor 2, that's an Apple IIe right there with no keyboard in it. I have a couple of Apple IIes already. Right there we have a Macintosh Quadra 650. See if I can zoom, you stupid thing. So, oh yeah, that's beautiful focusing. Okay. Quadra 650. And underneath it is a Power Mac G3 desktop form factor. I already have one of those, but in a tower form factor. And over here we have a Macintosh Classic 2 with an anti-glare screen covering. Underneath it we have a Macintosh Plus. And then we have the two boxes of stuff. I've already tested out all these computers, and interestingly, they all individually have an issue that I think I can actually fix. The IIe comes up with like solid color on the screen with like kind of a window shade effect. Like it'll go like that and do a solid color, and then it'll go and take it off the screen, and then back on the screen, and the whole time it's doing like a buzzing sound on the speaker. That could be just because it doesn't have a keyboard connected, and it doesn't know what to do about that. I could be wrong on that because I've never actually used a IIe that didn't have a keyboard connected for obvious plausibility and practicality reasons. The Quadra 650, the hard drive in it has problems spinning up, but otherwise it gets as far as it can in the boot process to actually try and boot from a disk, so that's good. The Power Mac G3 actually does start to boot the OS 9 specifically, and but it gets to, I don't know, maybe 10% in the boot process of actually loading the OS, and then it freezes up. So probably bad hard drive in there. I have hard drives, of course. The Macintosh Classic 2 has the classic problem of whenever these have been sitting for a while, the capacitors in them start to leak, and that causes shorts across the traces on the motherboard. And the most common result of that is that when you turn it on, then a weird like checkerboard graphic comes up on the screen and it just gets stuck there. So that's exactly what this one does. So it probably just needs to be cleaned. The Macintosh Plus gets to the point in the boot process where, again, it tries to boot from a disk, and then it does a sad Mac. So that either means that it has a hard drive in it that it can't boot from, or this floppy drive, which actually has a floppy disk in it, has a problem with it, and so it can't boot from that either. But regardless, I think I can fix that too. Anyway, let's get to the meat of this video, now that we're 6.5 minutes in. And I'll start digging into these boxes and see what I can find. So right off the bat, we have an Apple design keyboard. Pretty common. I've actually got a couple of these already. Apologies if the focus isn't so great. This camera does not seem to want to focus. But then it's got connected up to it a standard Apple Bus Mouse 2. Bus Mouse 2? Yeah, Bus Mouse 2. And so, yeah, these were very commonly paired late in the Macintosh's life. We got this thing, which looks to be part of like a disk drive, or not disk drive, disk storage box, like the drawer that you'd actually pull out. Looks like it's from that. I probably don't have a use for that. And I'll just junk it. Let's see, what's this thing? This is, looks like a keyboard wrist rest. Yeah, I don't really use those either. This is a modem. Super Express 33.6. So, always the most interesting part of anything to me is the back. So, on the back we have, let's turn on the light on this thing, maybe that'll help the focusing. Or at least it'll help you see things better. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, so typical 2 jacks in the back, one's going in, one goes out. But interesting is the cable on the end of this here. So that's not what you'd expect to see, right? A cable. It's got 4 pins in there. It looks like an ADB plug or an S-video plug. But then on the other side of this, it's got the same thing but in the reverse. So I think what you're supposed to do is actually power this through the keyboard. So you plug that into the computer and plug the keyboard into there, and that's how it gets its power. So yeah, very strange. Now how this is actually supposed to get data in and out of the computer, I don't know. Is there something else somewhere on this? Some other jack or some other something? Could be that one of these, there's actually an adapter cable that's supposed to plug into this that then goes to the computer. That's probably what it is. So there could be like a serial adapter cable somewhere in this box. So next, we have a QuickTel Zeba, whatever that is, 9624 V42 bis fax modem for only power switch right there. And no idea what those are supposed to be. That's been stuck to a nasty wall at some point. So yeah, this is just a modem. So look at the back. Got 2 jacks, and see, this one actually has a power input and a 25-pin serial for connecting to a computer. So this one makes sense. There's also another one of these in there, except this is a different model, 2400EX. It has just a modem, no fax. Yeah, interesting that they'd have both of these. And by they, I mean the people that had this stuff before me. Next we get a bag of cables. Let's see what we got in here. Pull these out here. Yep. Just dropped a whole bunch of adapters. Since those are so eager to be shown, let's have a look at those first. So we got a serial to Ps2 adapter for plugging a Ps2 mouse into a serial port. Mice had to specifically support that. You couldn't just do that with any Ps2 mouse. Got another one, and another one, and then a USB to Ps2 mouse adapter. And again, the mouse had to support that. In fact, I don't think I even have any mice that do support that. And also we have USB to Ps2 adapter. The opposite of what that is, so you could plug a Ps2 mouse or keyboard into there, plug that into a USB computer. Also here we have, killing camera, sorry about that. Have a Firewire cable. Got a mini connection, or what Sony calls an iLink connection to a regular Firewire, and in fact, that has the Sony logo on it too. So that's an official cable. Ooh, special. We got another one. Let's see, that's just a nondescript power cable. I've got a bunch of those that look exactly like that already. Another nondescript power cable. Not particularly interesting. This one's interesting though. This, I actually like if I can actually get it untangled out of these other cables. It's another power cable, but it's got an actual Apple logo on it. So this was originally either distributed with a computer or you could buy it from an Apple dealer. There's nothing about it that makes it different than a regular power cable other than that it's got that logo on it. But yeah, I'm a slut for logos, I guess. And we have just another regular power cable. So a whole lot of cabling and adapting in that bag. Let's see what else we got in here. We have a Macintosh HD connection to standard monitor connection. This was used for some of the early Power Macs to do both video and audio in a single cable, which has apparently been quite a big deal to the computing industry for quite a while. That's something they really, really want to do. They want one cable for everything, and everybody had different ideas about how to do that. But I have one of these already, but it's not bad to have another one, especially since it was free. See here, we just have a 25-pin parallel cable. Very long cable, too. I like these kind of ends on them because I can open them up and repurpose the cables. So if I need to make a cable that has a 25-pin connection, I can easily open this and desolder and rewire and everything in there to get this to do what I want. So next we have, this is a Macintosh serial switch. So It's got the end right there that will connect to the Mac, and then 3 inputs on it right there, which you can switch between with the switch on the top. So you could connect 3 serial devices to 1 serial port. Kind of a big deal on later Macs that started to have fewer and fewer serial ports. See, here we have a 25-pin male-to-male cable. This could actually be what's called a lap link cable. There's the model number of it. It's Belkin. And they're nice enough to put that right on there. If it is a lap link cable, then I've already got one just like it, but I've never actually seen another one like mine, so yeah, kind of neat. I imagine there's going to be a lot of this as we go on. Here, got it. Oh, it's wound up in there pretty good, whatever it is. Come on out of there. Yeah, these boxes of stuff, this is exactly the way that they were given to me, in this wonderful state of organization. This wonderful state of cable management. So, this was the thing I was pulling out, and it's actually packaged quite nicely. But everything else was wound around it. Okay, so this is a Macintosh serial adapter cable. That goes to the Mac, and that goes to like a printer or whatever else, modem. It could connect to one of those modems that I pulled out earlier. That's probably what it was used for. And there's a cable here that ended up in my lap as I was pulling things. This is a just a Macintosh serial cable. I've already got a few of these. Let's see. What else can we grab out of the top of this box that it's already puking over the side? There's a Macintosh microphone, commonly distributed with mics at the time, mid-90s, maybe early 90s. Let's see, I'm pulling on something here that looks like an ADB connection, but it splits. So this could be interesting. Or maybe it's just an ADB splitter cable. So it starts out with this, and then goes down to here, where it splits into 2. So it just ends up on the other end with these. So it's just simply an ADB splitter cable. I didn't know such a thing actually existed. Interesting. And here we have another Macintosh serial adapter cable. And what are you? Another Macintosh serial cable. It's actually somewhat more boring than I thought it would be. I was all excited to dig through these boxes, and then it turns out there's not much interesting in them. So far, though. So far. That's an ADB cable. Not OEM. Not much OEM cabling in here. This is OEM, though. This is a very common ADB cable. You know it's OEM because it's got those symbols on it there, and then like everything Apple at the time, damn near everything had a part number on it. So this is like a keyboard cable, typically, was what it was used for, because Brainwave, a lot of their keyboards had detachable cables. For some reason, most computer keyboards of all kinds had integrated cables. So if like a dog chewed through the cable, unless you could fix it like me, in other words, if you were most people, you could not fix it, so you're kind of fucked. Here's a 25-pin male-to-male cable. That's interesting. This has already been rewired by someone else, so that's the original, and then someone else put this hood on it, which is what I would do. So I could actually reuse this. I could peel that open and, you know, change up the wires to the pins and, you know, whatever I wanted to do, just like I said before. Here is a coaxial switch. It's got, how about I turn it right side up and try and focus on it. So, cable B, TV, cable A. So you got input, input, output. And simple A to B switch. Very clunky and satisfying. Looks like here we got another potential lap link cable. There's the part number for that one. Could be the same as the other one. Ooh, I do see something interesting down in there. I'll get to it. There's another Apple design keyboard. That's not the interesting thing. Ooh. Ooh. Holy crap. Okay, so you can see this here. I think this is a Gravis mouse stick. I've already got one of these if it's got the same connection. I think it does. Come on out of there. Okay, yeah. So, the mouse stick like this, and you know, move like that. It's got buttons like that, and the actual connection to the computer, this hooks in line with the mouse. So, you plug that into the computer, plug the mouse into that. And see if it actually says on the bottom if it's Gravis mouse stick. And this device, blah, 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 might blow you up. No, it doesn't say that it's mouse stick. But what I was oohing and ahhing about is the fact that there's, geez, 3 of those in here? And I was lucky enough to find one at a thrift store once upon a time. This one is slightly different. The other one might be broken, actually, because this one I can't rotate like that. And this one's actually more familiar to me. This might be more like the one that I have already, because it still hooks inline, but the connector is different. So you hook that in, plug the mouse into the back of there, instead of being like that, the Y cable thing, like this. It does the same thing, it just looks different. And of course, this also has a trigger button there, 2 clicks there. These 2 buttons might actually be the same as these 2 buttons, like that might be the same as that, and that's the same as that. They may also be reassignable in software. I can't remember. I played with the mouse stick, my mouse stick, not on my channel, but I played with it once upon a time, and actually found the original software for it, so I was messing around with it, but I don't remember if it allows you to reassign the buttons or not. We have a third mouse stick here. And this one's very, very stiff feeling. That's good. It's not all loose and funky. Sticker's funky. Connector looks just like the other one. And what's this thing? Okay. This is some old funky radio thing, I guess. That's probably power and volume, and that's for tuning. Or maybe this is a timer. Like a really old kitchen timer or something, I don't know. Somebody tore its butt off, obviously. That'd be where a battery connects. Does this thing take like a lantern battery? One of those really big ones? I don't know. Not computer related at all, but it's in there. Okay, so here we have another commonly distributed keyboard with like Macintosh LCs, that kind of thing. Mouse still plugged into it. This mouse, though, is I mean, it's just like the other one, Apple Desktop Bus Mouse 2, but I don't remember these being distributed with these. There's a different mouse that commonly came with this, which was more like more squarish. I think there is one of those in here. But yeah, like I was saying before, detachable keyboard cables, that's mouse cable right there. But you could choose which side you wanted the keyboard and the mouse to be in, which was nice too, because if you're left-handed, you could plug the mouse in on this side, and then plug the keyboard cable in right there and run that to the computer. Yeah, there it is. I remembered seeing that. So here's the first model Apple Desktop Bus Mouse. It's very square and non-ergonomic and chunky and charming. I like it. Oh, good. There's a remote control in here. A Mediacom remote control. Wonder if there's like a Mediacom set-top box in that other box over there. We will find out. Here we have just a parallel printer cable. And what's here? We have a, looks like a serial extension cable plugged into itself for some weird reason. Is this a null modem cable? It says Belkin there, Belkin there. I have one that looks sort of like this already. If it was null modem, then it would say in that hole right there. But it looks like it's just an extension. We have yet another parallel printer cable. Come on, focus. There you go. I've got a box of like a million of these. Wait, what does that say in it? Oh, Canon print. That makes sense. It's hooked up to a Canon printer at some point in its life. Here's another parallel printer cable. But this one has a right angle on it, which is kind of nice. If you want to try and slide the whole printer like back up against the wall, it's nice for that. And there's an AC adapter in here. See, the logic code, plug-in class 2, blah, 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 blah. Output 8.5 volts AC. That's interesting. Usually these don't output AC. Maybe that plugs into one of those modems. That would be very strange, though. Oh, wait. We have an escapee. It's another Apple Desktop Bus Mouse. This one's significantly more loved, shall we say. Let's see. We have, oh, look at this. It is another Apple power cable. I've never seen one that looked like this, though. And the plug. Like that design right there. That's different to me. It's got a right angle on the one side. And 2 more cables in there, and that's it for this box. Got another Macintosh serial cable and another Macintosh microphone. Okay, so that's it for that. And man, have I created a mess over here. Moving on. We'll just pretend that mess doesn't exist for now. Now this box is kind of interesting to me because I already see some things poking out of the top like that right there and that right there. Those are external drives. So we're going to see what those are. This is not anything computer related. This is another old radio thing. And I'm pretty sure this would probably explode if I plugged it in. So of course I'll have to plug it in at some point. Very, very classy. See, here we have a boxed copy of Wizardry, Crusaders of the Dark Savant. I've never heard of this game specifically, but of course I've heard of the Wizardry series. Never really been into it because I've never been into role-playing games, really. This is for IBM PC and 100% compatibles. Zoom in on those specs right there. And by zoom, I mean zoom. Just move the box. So this is pretty cool to actually get some boxed old software as part of this lot. So we got some 3.5-inch floopies, the Playmaster's Guide, some registration cards, DOS reference card, and it looks like a map, like a Game World map. I wonder how rare this thing is, because things like this in these old boxes, which are colloquially called feelies, are easily lost. And this is actually in really good shape too. Like, it's not super worn or nasty or anything. That's kind of neat. I may still ultimately sell this package though. If you're interested in it, drop me a line. Because, like I said, I'm not really into role-playing games. And if somebody else really is, and they're really into the Wizardry series, then they would enjoy having this a lot more than me. So what better reason than to pass it on? Okay, so let's rip and tear in this box here. Power user, looks like an external SCSI drive box. And indeed it is. Still got the cables plugged into it. Hang on. Let me emancipate this thing. So, yeah, got the SCSI ID selector right there. And then an in and an out, whichever way you prefer. Power, switch. No idea what's in this. Obviously a hard drive of some kind. You can kind of see it through the grating there, but no idea how big it is or if it still works. But I'll find out. That's part of the fun. Like the hard drives that are in those computers over there. Like the ones that might actually, the hard drives that might actually still work. I have no idea what's on those, so could find some interesting, incriminating things in there. What do we got here? Got a box of printer ribbons. These might actually fit an image writer. They look similar to some ribbons that I already have. Does it say on the box? Huh. So, if you caught that, that was the address of the person that ordered these, but that's not where I got this stuff. So somehow this box went from the person that ordered it to the person that I got it from. I'm always interested in the history of how stuff like that moves around. And now that box has moved once again. Now I have it in yet another different place. So here we have, looks like another external SCSI drive box. This one with a removable face plate on the front so I could put a CD-ROM drive in there if I so chose. On the back we got the in and out Centronics 50-pin connectors, very standard of the time, and the SCSI ID selector, and then just power and power switch. Got a cooling fan on the bottom. Again, you can see there's a hard drive in there. Interesting to note, all those other computers, this entire lot was sold to me as is. Not sold to me, given to me, because it was all free. It was given to me as is, not known if any of it was working or not. And so I half expected that when I plugged in those computers, they were just going to blow up, as far as I knew. And one of them sounded like they almost was going to, which was the Mac Classic 2 sitting up there. It started making this really weird kind of crackling sound coming from the vicinity of the power supply, but no smoke was coming out. No smoke came out of any of them. And so I was like, I'm just going to see this out and wait until see what happens. And eventually the crackling went away and then the monitor powered up, and that's when it gave me the checkerboard pattern. So, sweet. Got some CDs here. Looks like somebody copied some kind of art library. So there's disc 1. Vector advertising through antique style animals. Vector antique style through cartoons. Number 2. See, hands to the military. This is alphabetical. Okay, it's not categorized. So that's number 3, number 4, and then we jump straight to 14. The rest of those discs are probably in here. And I'm not going to bother showing all of them because they kind of look the same, and art discs are kind of boring to me, you know? It's not hardware. Hardware is interesting. So here, what do we got here? Looks like we got some ROM chips, and they're actual Apple on them. I bet these are ROM chips for that 2E over there. They either came out of that 2E and it was upgraded, or these are upgrades for the 2E. You can see the part number on there, the Apple part number, which if I look that up, then it would tell me exactly what these are. Oh, wait a minute. So there's that one, and then this. It's actually got another chip on the other side. So yeah, I'll have to look those up and see what's on those. I actually do have a parallel port ROM reader and writer that I could dump those with if I so chose. But since they've got Apple part numbers on them, there's really no point in dumping them, because somebody else has already dumped it and put it up there somewhere. If they were unlabeled, then they could have been custom written, and then I would actually take the time and effort to dump them myself to see what was on there. So here we have evga.com. So this is a driver disk for some kind of video card. Then we have Walgreens digital photo album. Gravis Experience version 2.1. So this is probably full of games and stuff. It was distributed with some kind of Gravis thing, maybe with those mouse sticks. I doubt it though, because it says 1998 on it. I think those mouse sticks are older than that. By 1998, Apple was transitioning to USB. Here we have a custom disk Scout newsletter. Maybe these computers were used for Boy Scout stuff. Another one of those stuff. Oh, this might be the last disk in it, because now it says it has Print Artist, MGI Photo Suite, and fonts. That's weird. They put the software on the last disk. You'd think it would be on the first disk. You know, give you the most important stuff right up front. Grab and see what we get. Grab and pull and rip and tear. Then we have a SCSI cable. Not a parallel printer cable, because it's got the really wide Centronics 50-pin connector on up there. Now, I want to know what this ribbon cable is here. It looks like it's probably a Disk 2 cable. There is an Apple Disk 2 controller card inside that 2E over there. So, no, this is a printer cable for that 2E. So this would actually plug on the inside, and that would plug into the printer on the outside. Cables were a little less elegant back then, and a lot less shielded. Here, a Craft Macintosh 2 and SE adapter. What would this be for? So that's ADB. Maybe this is for plugging a serial mouse into a Mac. Huh. Some kind of switches right there. No? Or is that just a chip on the inside? I don't know. I don't know why that hole's there. No? That would be the wrong gender for a PC serial mouse. Or would it? Yes, because that's what it would be. That's what would be on the end of the mouse's plug. So you wouldn't be able to plug a mouse into that. That's weird. I've never seen one of those before. Got another bus mouse. And you got Office Jet printer drivers. Never opened. Ooh, new old stock printer drivers. Get a pretty penny for those. Here, interesting. This could be a Mocha adapter. Cable into TV. No, it's actually not a Mocha adapter because it doesn't have an Ethernet port on it. This is, if I wanted to expend a little more brain power towards it right now, then I could probably figure it out, but not really. This could just be a very small tuner of some kind, like a cable tuner. Very, very small cable tuner. Looking like I might have to cut this short, do this in a two-part, because the battery on this camera is starting to run out, and for some stupid reason I can't run this camera off of AC power. It just doesn't work. So this is going to be our final item right here. Just another SCSI cable for external SCSI. So I'm going to save the rest of this box for after my camera battery recharges. And yeah, this has been interesting so far. Hope you've enjoyed. And I'm not going to say all that other stuff, like, you know, like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 because I don't do this often enough for that to matter to me. But yeah. See ya whenever I do more. Probably tomorrow. See you later.